Carson Wentz was banged up in the win over the Browns and has a sore left shoulder, according to Coach Kevin O'Connell. He left the game and came back into the game. O'Connell also said that J.J. McCarthy, who has a high ankle sprain, will return to practice this week. So let's talk about the Vikings offense. Marcus, how should they approach J.J. McCarthy's return from injury?
Boogie, we talk a lot on this show and we break down a lot of football. I just don't see how you can go away from Carson Wentz with the success that you've had. And I know he had the 2 interception game, but he used his legs in this last game against Cleveland. Cleveland defense is really good. And for this team to be able to pull a win out, I think was significant, especially with Carson Wentz being at QB. We saw the day that Justin Jefferson had as well. And look, I know that they drafted J.J. McCarthy to be the future of this football team. But I also don't believe you can watch and think that you have a better opportunity to win with Carson Wentz and just throw caution to the wind and put J.J. McCarthy back in if he's not ready. Remember, these performances after the Chicago game by J.J. McCarthy were not good. He did not look good. He did not look ready as to be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I think Kevin O'Connell and this staff has much more to think about than just they took J.J. McCarthy in the first round and we reinsert him once he's ready to go based on what they've seen from Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's a difficult decision, and I'm shocked to say that after 3 or 4 weeks. It's really the what do you want versus what do you want right now? Because you obviously want J.J. McCarthy if you're in Minnesota to be the future. But Carson Wentz has played pretty good football. And there's a difference with how they've played. Like, I think the fundamental question, can you play faster than you did? Because that was the big thing for JJ, was he just was playing slow. And just look at like the metrics. Carson Wentz plays significantly faster on early downs. He plays relatively faster on third down. He plays significantly faster in their play action game. In the drop back game under center, 2 seconds faster. And so my thing with JJ in this situation is like, does Minnesota think that those numbers will have been sped up when he's been rehabbing? You know, it's not like they gave him a break for 3 or 4 weeks. He's been rehabbing an ankle injury. Did he speed up his pace of play while rehabbing an ankle injury? That's the question.
I think they have to figure out, can he speed up his pace of play through playing? Or is it something that that they feel like he has to work out on his own? And this is a young man who spent an entire year not playing.
I think he has to play. I think he has to play because you're not going to give him enough reps.
And I would do it for 2 reasons. 1, developmentally, it would be helpful. Actually, 3 reasons. 2, you have a coach with absolute job security in Kevin O'Connell. Yep. This is not like, we got to win now. Obviously, this is a contender of a team if they get decent quarterback play. But I don't think there's that pressure on him. And then the third thing is, I think when he returns to play, the situation is going to be better than what we saw in those 2 weeks when he did struggle. I think having Addison back, I was thinking about this watching the Browns, it's massive. The Browns, once, he didn't play the first quarter, I think he was benched. Once he was on the field with him and Jefferson, you saw them playing way more cover 2. I think that's going to open up things for the run game. You're getting Donovan Jackson back on the interior. We'll see when Brian O'Neill comes back. Regardless of who's playing quarterback, I think this is a football team that has to run the ball and run the ball better than they did in the early part of the season. And I think that's going to happen. To me, it provides a better infrastructure for J.J. McCarthy once he does return.
It's also, who do they truly believe they can be in December?
Right.
Because they might sit there and say, Carson's played well, and you can make the case that
they're not winning playoff games.
Do they think that they'll be a better team come that December playoff run after JJ's maybe had 3, 4, 5, 6 starts under his belt? Yeah. He's got a little bit more of an understanding of the speed of the NFL pass rush and how much faster he has to play. It is a little bit of a dice roll, though. It's not a clear-cut choice.
And Marcus, the hard part is, like, if you don't play him right now, what are you adding, another year before he plays again? I mean, you just keep adding time to his time off.
No, Dan Amina is correct, but I also think you tell the rest of this team, and this is how I truly feel, y'all, that if J.J. McCarthy is reinserted as the starter, this is a litmus test year. This is not a year where we're going to compete for a championship. And you got to be very careful not to fracture a lot of guys that may believe they have a better chance with Carson Wentz. It's not an easy decision at all. And I wanted to ask you this, Dio, how much of the rehab of Sam Darnold you think plays into the mentality and the thought process with Kevin O'Connell and this staff, this offensive staff.
Yeah, I think that Kevin O'Connell and his offensive staff believe that the parts around the quarterback really are one of the main reasons why quarterbacks play well. And so they think a lot of quarterbacks can go and play well there, and that's probably accurate. And so I think that there's a reality that, okay, Carson Wentz, he's experienced, he knows a lot of the NFL game, NFL defense, and so they think they can win a lot with him. I'm curious to hear Marcus say that if they go with J.J. McCarthy, it's not a championship caliber year. I still absolutely believe he's got to play better and he's got to play faster.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is still a championship caliber football team if he gets better, if he plays better.
I realize it's a small-ish sample size, but the Vikings have averaged more than 9 offensive points per game in Wentz's 3 starts than McCarthy's 2. So 9 more points makes a big difference when it comes to
Addison and Darrisaw are big parts of those 3 starts.
All right. Coming up, the Texans dominated the Ravens. You're going to love Mike Tomlin talking about tight ends today.
What's up, Vikings Nation? Victor here from Report Vikings, and today we're diving into something juicy. With the NFL trade deadline just 4 weeks away, the Minnesota Vikings could be gearing up for a blockbuster move. And let's be honest, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah loves to make things happen around this time of year. Every October or November since he took over, Kwesi has pulled off at least one big trade. And with the Vikings sitting at 3-2 heading into the Week 6 bye, this could be the perfect moment for him to strike again. So let's talk about who the Vikings could target and why it actually makes a lot of sense. If there's one thing we've learned about Kwesi, it's that he's not afraid to get aggressive. Remember last year when he went after Josh Dobbs midseason? That move changed the energy of the locker room instantly, so don't be surprised if another bold trade is coming. And this time, it might involve bringing in a new weapon for J.J. McCarthy or Carson Wentz. Because let's be real, this offense has been heating up, but it's still missing one consistent piece in the passing game behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Now, according to multiple reports, one name that's been floating around the league as a possible trade target for Minnesota is Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. Myers is 28, turning 29 next month, and he's quietly putting together another really solid season, on pace for almost 1,000 yards in a pretty unstable Raiders offense. Through 5 weeks, he's already showing why he's one of the most underrated route runners in the NFL. And here's the kicker. He reportedly requested a trade not long ago. That means the Raiders might actually be open to dealing him. The rumored price, a 5th round pick. Yeah, you heard that right. Just a 5th rounder for a proven veteran receiver who could instantly slot in as WR3 or even WR2 if Addison or Jefferson miss time again. Now, think about this. The Adam Thielen reunion experiment hasn't exactly worked out the way most of us hoped. Through 5 games, Thielen's got only 4 catches. And look, I love Thielen, always will, but at this stage, the separation and burst just aren't there anymore. Meanwhile, Jalen Naylor, who we all like as a developmental guy, will be a free agent at the end of the year. So if the Vikings can get a guy like Myers now, they'd not only strengthen the receiver room for the rest of 2025, but could also extend him and lock in a reliable WR3 for the next few seasons. And let's not forget what Myers brings to the table, 6'2", with size and strong hands. A proven red zone threat, 8 touchdowns last season with the Raiders. Excellent on 3rd downs, which is something the Vikings have struggled with this year, converting only about 36% of 3rd down opportunities so far. He's the kind of player who can move the chains, take pressure off Jefferson, and help open up the play-action game that Kevin O'Connell loves to run. Now, there's also a bigger picture angle here. The Vikings' offensive line has been banged up, and the cornerback depth is thin, so Kwesi might prioritize those spots first. But if the cost for a proven receiver like Myers is truly just a day 3 pick, that's a low-risk, high-upside move, and it keeps the offense dynamic heading into the second half of the season. Because remember, this team is right in the thick of the NFC playoff race. 3-2 with momentum building, Addison coming back, Darrisaw healthy again, things are trending upward, so adding a dependable veteran weapon could be the difference between sneaking into the postseason or making a real push for the division. But what do you guys think, Vikings fans? Would you trade a 5th round pick for Jakobi Meyers? Or do you think Kwesi should focus on the offensive line or cornerback instead? Drop your takes in the comments. I want to know what direction you'd go if you were in the GM chair. And if you're enjoying the rise of this team, hit that like button, share the video with a fellow Vikings fan, and subscribe to Report Vikings for all the latest trade rumors, news, and deep dive analysis, straight from one fan to another. Because here's the truth, this team might just be one smart move away from being a real NFC sleeper. As always, this is Victor. And until next time, Skol Vikings Nation!